not really the conspiratorial part, yeah?
About DIA?
Yeah.
I don't... Dude, the legend has grown over the years. And I was there when they built the motherfucker. So...
Were they just fucking disrespecting Indian bones left and right when they...
Right in the crusher.
Yeah. Is it too late to change it? I would say...
No, it's already haunted airport.
I would say, I'm Jeffrey. I like the idea of Indian bones right in the crusher.
So yeah, it might be haunted, but like it's got all these legends around it now for some odd reason because it does have weird artwork in it, man.
It does.
Yeah,
I have seen that.
Yeah, and it always has ever since they opened it. It's never been like a normal airport where there's pictures of like airplanes, or like who's it, Norman Rockwood paintings of guys like
Rockwell,
Rockwell, right?
Yeah,
Rockwell, yeah.
That or
like, Tommy's first flight, or like saluting the fucking Air Force flyover or something,
That or some kind of vaguely avant-garde three-dimensional statue or sculpture that represents flight or freedom or birds or something like that.
Yeah, our airport still has that monstrous sculpture in the front part of the aviary.
Yeah,
with all the gold. It's supposed to be like aspen leaves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, but DIA's always had weird art in it, man. Like bad LSD type art. So
I know some of them. Like when you look at the big paintings, there's like shades of like Goya mixed with Picasso's Guernica, and it's
a little bit more Aztec in it.
There's a weird where it's like you can tell, I mean, because it's exaggerated, you can tell there's some kind of symbolism to it, but the more you look at it, you say, if this means what I think it does.
Right, yeah. This painting's all about rape. Yeah.
Why for an airport? I don't quite get it. Yeah, I know.
Because a fucking clever artist. I got commissioned. Watch what I'm going to put up, and millions of people are going to have to look at it.
You have no idea how milquetoast my choice is. If I were the person in charge of rounding up these people for creative endeavors in big projects like this, you have no idea how milquetoast the selections I found would be.
Well, mine would be terrible too, but it's also like, I don't know. It's just that particular type of artist who thinks they're clever, but once you figure it out, you're just like, you're not clever, you're just a dick. So,
there's this mentality, and shit. This is sort of the one of the prevailing attitudes that people draw ire with is that this whole like owning the chuds idea. People are going to be so mad when they get this. It's like, I'm picking on this particular group or whatever. It's like, no, you're not. You're not.
No, you're just being a
You're not. You're not. And again, I also, that being said, I have a hell of a lot more latitude and appreciation of edgy, avant-garde, art than I think most people do.
Oh, your tolerance is definitely higher than mine.
I would think so. I generally speaking,
wait a minute, you used colors other than black and white? What the fuck? You rebel, you.
There's that, but I mean, there's certain amounts of things that I'm absolutely willing to watch people, trample on in the stake of art, as long as I get the reason why you're doing it. And I understand that, but there comes a point where you also look and say, like, we're at a fucking airport. This is, like, you can't... There's only so much, like, artistic expression that you have toward the truly, like, avant-garde, when you also know it's like, hey, there's Cinnabon. Hey, there's, that's what
I'm thinking. Right, there's Wolfgang Puck again.
Right, exactly. It's like, well, this is airport art.
Right.
This isn't the Guggenheim. You're doing this, right?
Yeah, but, you can see, like, some turd airport administrator out there, like, gets an art budget and,
Yes, and
like you're not going to go down and like round up the local yokels at the community college to make you some airplane.
Yes,
parts.
you are.
Well,
you
no, you
are.
You
should.
There you go. Okay, see, this is the problem that I have with a lot of your arguments. You confuse are and should.
No, all right, so
this is definitely a should one, but the are is like, oh no, because like only so many artists actually get paid for their work. We got to get the best one we can.
No, fuck that. Okay, so if you're asking me if I'm in charge of putting the decor together in the new airport, okay, I'm not even going to the art college. I'm not even calling an artist. What I'm doing is I'm going to the local hobby store. And I'm looking...
He's just buying frames. It's like, this is a nice-looking family. We're going to put it up in the airport.
No. I'm not buying frames. But what I'm doing here is I'm going to the hobby store, and I'm looking for people that have built airplane models. And I'm looking for people that have, like, the prize-looking ones in the glass and stuff. And I'm like, okay, so bigger. I would love to see people... when I'm at an airport, what do I want to see? I want to see, like, historical planes. I want to see, like, that's what I want to see hanging from the ceiling. I want to see, like, if I go in there and say, what's the thesis of your art project? I'm like, the history of aviation, right? And I'm going to go in there.
Well, I mean, the Welcome to Colorado thesis is pretty good, too.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. I think that's kind of what our airport did. So,
Absolutely. Again, I have no problem with it.
DIA is just its own animal, man.
DIA is some dude who's, like, 57. They said, like, who's doing the art here? It's like, no,
Ramon.
It's like, don't worry about it. My 33-year-old boyfriend, he knows people, and he's gonna round up some artists for this place, and they did.
Yeah. Well, actually, like some of them are really famous. So like I don't know the guy who did Lucifer out there, but that dude's actually like fucking really famous. So in art realms.
Yeah.
So yeah. Which I always forget is there until I drive by it. It's like, oh yeah, I'm back at DIA, and it's a giant blue screaming demon horse.
And that is kind of cool in and of itself. I mean,
I suppose, man, but it fits with the mythos of the airport.
Well, especially when you take things and you, God, if you're gonna walk it by with all the symbolism and the shape of the airport, and you're like, all right, so...
Well, airport's an art project, actually.
We'll start with, like, the Assyrians, and we'll go into, like, the different, like, pagan mythologies and other weird shapes and all this other shit. You're like, oh, man.
It's a surveyed of lit book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah, but that's me. Again, mine would just be so plain. So, coming there, it's like... God, you know what? If I could, I would have, like, restored aircraft in...
I've seen that in one airport.
In the terminal. I'd be like, this would be cool.
I don't know if it's St. Louis or Kansas City.
Which one?
I used to fly through both of them a lot when I was with TWA.
Am I not right? Does Kansas City have a history?
Yeah.
Did something happen in aviation that was a big deal in Kansas City?
One of the big manufacturers was there.
Okay.
Or something like that.
All right.
So I think it might have been St. Louis, though. Because I think that's where they have the Spirit of St. Louis. There's two of them. There's one that...
You're right.
That is actually at Lambert, and the other one's in the Smithsonian.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So because there were two planes, one going over and one coming back, if I'm not mistaken. So
again,
I don't remember though, but that was the only place where I've kind of seen that, man. Other than like some little rinky-dink airports here and there, but you got a major airport, that a lot of fucking people fly through. It looks like a shopping mall. It's as harmless as a shopping mall. So, except for our shopping malls, which apparently like full of fentanyl crime now, but whatever. So
that's awful.
Yeah, I'm not going back to the Citadel. I'm going to find out, man. So, they scared even the Hooters out of there, Jeff.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
We still have one in town, though, don't we?
I think there's still one up north. So, not that, that's even remotely worth the time.
I would not go to Hooters South.
I wouldn't go to either. So...
It's fine. I mean,
I'm not big on wings, man. So
no, you're not. So I mean, it was never meant for you.
No, not really. So,
but that also depends on your stance towards the quote-unquote restaurant, which I don't know. I've always felt somewhat humiliated being in those places.
It got worse for me once I had a little girl. So,
all right, fair enough. Yeah. But I mean, it's just
all forms of said entertainment are now like icky.
Fair enough. I mean, I still don't. Obviously, I don't have that same problem, but it's just the restaurants. They're not going all the way. I mean, it's just kind of sad. It's like because if I want to go see the whole thing, yeah, I'll go to the strip club, right? That's the thing is you see a specialist. It's just like, God, it's just like I don't know. Maybe that's not fair. And you know what? If the ladies there are making good money, then who am I to complain? That's totally fine. Then that's fantastic. But again, I don't. It's not. It's those kind of places. Just generally speaking, I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of embarrassed to be here for you. It's like,
I think I've only been to Hooters like twice. So we used to go to. What was the other?
Well, I went to the Tilted Kilt with you guys once.
Yeah, I've only been there once, and that was with you and Will. So
the lawyer was there too.
The lawyer was there too. I've only ever been there once. The Fox and the Hound was supposed to be like that, but it wasn't after a while.
Really?
Yeah, because I remember going to one in Houston, and it was definitely billed as that.
Same place? Same...
I don't know. So, same name. I don't know. I imagine it's the same chain. So,
I don't know.
I have no idea. So, but, like, yeah, those are the only ones that I can really think of.
Well, when I was in Texas, there was a place right next door called Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks, okay, yeah.
I went there a few times, but because there was a bar next door. I mean, that was the...
Yeah, exactly. It's right next to the hotel.
Walk right next, yeah.
No, and I think, yeah, the Fox and Hound was the same way when I was in Houston. It was right next door. So, I don't know if it was supposed to be that way or not, but maybe it started that way. So, and then just didn't maintain. I have no idea.
It's hard to say. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I go to so few restaurants anymore that I can't even tell what's good. So, I go to the Mexican joint over here, and that's about it. Yeah.
You're not doing your brain any favors, Patrick.
With what?
You have to expose it to some new things.
No,
every now and
fucking
then.
refuse.
You have to.
No, YouTube can make me do it, so that way I can skip it if I don't need it.
That's not the same. You're
just right swipe. I'm done.
No, stop it, man. You gotta exercise it a little.
You know what it is that I don't like anymore? I don't like the restaurant experience. I don't like having other people serve me. So, I don't know why. It's just I don't like it anymore. So, I'll try new food. So, but I don't like the let's sit down and talk for a little bit and stuff. And,
So, you do not like the dining experience.
The dining experience, yeah. So.
I don't know how to help you with that.
Yeah, no,
I mean, it's
like special occasions. They do at Christmas and Thanksgivings.
I mean, I don't do it nearly as often as I used to. But I've also done a lot of it, man. I mean, I guess that's the thing is when I go travel places, it's like I want to see all the different places here as much as possible, even if it's these shitty little towns in North Dakota. It's like I'd like to see what your local college has, and you know what? There were some gems in there too.
North Dakota?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll bet.
There were, but there were also a lot of. You don't know how to make this.
Oh yeah.
Why are you trying?
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. But again, that's the only place in the world where, like, the premier burrito place would make you a fettuccine Alfredo burrito. You think I'm joking? I ordered it like
I'm
4
sure
times.
You're right, man. I mean, but it just sounds interesting.
I was like, this is the most fucked up thing that I've ever seen. One, please. And, and you try it, and you're like, this is better than it has any right to be, but you're also sort of in that Bill Dotrieve territory of when he's like, well, for only $2.95, they'll make you a spaghetti sandwich, which is a ton of spaghetti in between 2 loaves of bread, and the price is right. And you're like, what fucked up kind of like bargain food am I eating here? It's like, this is a burrito with pasta in it. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, all right, I got it. But again, it was just, it was a bizarre novelty. And it's like, yeah, of course, if I'm here and I see something fucked up on the menu, I'm like, absolutely. Can I also get one good thing too, just in case this doesn't
this
wash?
might not work out? Yeah.
Yeah. When I was in Portland, and when you're out of town and you're trying to, you run out of like vape juice, much in the same way that if you're a Marlboro Reds kind of guy, that's who you are, or you're a Camel Crush kind of guy, whatever it is, that's your thing. You go to another place and they have different juices, right? And you see things and you're asking the people behind there, it's like, what is this like? Yeah, they have way different tastes. So you're like, all right, that looks kind of familiar, one of those, and then I'm going to turn the other way. You just pick something, right?
Oh, okay.
I just want to make sure that I have a spare in case whatever you give me is like, you probably know what I'm talking about. Like, way back in the day, and I don't know if they still make this stuff. I've never looked. I haven't looked. I haven't thought about it. Whenever your family or like a school thing was happening and they were going to make like ice cream sundaes, right? One of the things that would pop out was just this can of, well, not can, but like this jar of like pineapple stuff.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, all right. So maybe you haven't seen it, but there would always be this jar of like this minced up caramelized pineapple.
Okay.
That was always an option, right? And that's the thing. You could have ruined a sundae with this, in a heartbeat. So it's kind of like,
I remember butterscotch.
this is way different.
Yeah, I don't remember fruit other than cherry.
Yeah, this is way different.
No,
yeah, I'll look for it. I mean, I remember it always being there, and it was just something, kind of wacky.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you might accidentally get that.
Correct.
Got it.
So, always hedge your bets. It's okay. Get one normal burrito and get the other one full of pasta. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of a one burrito kind of guy. So you got the one there that I'm used to. I'll take that. I don't know. I try a lot of new stuff. I just make it myself though. So,
well, that's fine. Yeah. No. It's just. I mean, if you're doing stuff like that, that makes sense. But if you're just dialed into like 5 things, like, I don't know, man.
No, I'm not your brother, man. So.
Shit, that's even worse than my brother. He at least at this point is getting hoodwinked into trying new stuff because of Nikki.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I've been married 24 years. We don't try new things. Unless one of us thinks of it. And then does a good job of selling it.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's glorious. I love it. So, it's peaceful. I like peaceful. I don't need adventure anymore, man. I'm good. I'm good.
To call that adventure, though, is I don't know. It's so far down the scale.
Not for me.
Yeah.
No, Jeff. I'm not going to go drag racing at 2 a.m.
I absolutely didn't recommend that.
I'm not going to pick up some weird hobby like all of a sudden getting to like, I don't know. I'm gonna start riding motorcycles. So I'm gonna start hang gliding.
Yes, right. This what you're doing is you're going to like the fucking like methamphetamine edge of this. I'm like, okay, so no, that was never for you in your wildest days, right? Matter of fact, I know how you scratch that issue. Your Overton window of that is roller coasters.
Oh, I love roller coasters.
Yeah.
I love roller coasters.
That okay. That's as long as you have something down on that end that's kind of like, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, no, I've never met a roller coaster that I wouldn't ride. So
that is not true.
Well, which one?
Yeah, I can take you to some ones that look awfully dangerous.
I'd try it.
Like the parking lot ones?
Oh, no, not
you're not talking about... Okay, so you're not... Okay. Well, those are those aren't really roller coasters. No, you're right.
If it's up on jack stands, I don't want to do it.
Sorry, those are rides.
Those are not roller coasters. Yes.
Yeah. Because I have been to the parking lot carnival.
I have actually never been to one of those. I have seen enough of them over the years, just driving by, because they used to do it down on Powers, and so you come, you drive by it on. I don't think they do it down there anymore. So
I don't think they do either.
No, they moved the spot. Oh yeah, because they built a Wendy's there.
Yeah, so, that's the spot that like the Golden Corral used to be in.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they built shit there.
Yeah.
So, but then even like some of the kiddie rides and stuff like that, that you see at like some of the bigger amusement parks, they kind of got that feel to them. So it's kind of like, nah, I'm not gonna ride that. So
I have no problem with those. I've done the parking lot ones, which is why I don't want to do the parking lot ones anymore.
Yeah.
And it's not like when I was doing these things, I didn't feel in any particular danger.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. But it just feels wrong. It's just the whole time you're just like, oh my God, I'm going to be in the paper and they're going to say that X amount of people died and they won't even say my name. Because
there's 12 of us. It's like a school shooting now. You know? I'm not going to give them any credit, man.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm just going to be known as victim. And
right, yeah. They're going to seal my death.
And I couldn't live with that. It's so uncomfortable, man, where you can't stop thinking of how...
Mm-hmm.
Again, it doesn't feel rickety, but it's still like shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been on a couple scary rides that were kind of like slapdash, like the fucking chairlift at the zoo used to be like that, where it's kind of like, oh, this thing.
I'm gonna take your word. I haven't been on that thing since I was a child. So
yeah. I've been to the zoo a few times not too long ago, so it's better now. But I remember I was like. Yeah, I distinctly remember being that one of those easily tippable wooden benches, so... And I'm sitting there looking, I was like, wow, this is higher than I thought it was, yeah. So...
I was in a thread today looking at just pictures of how safety protocols and requirements have changed since the 60s. And they're just showing, like, the rides and the chairlifts and all that other stuff where there is nothing in terms of, like, you're looking desperately for a guardrail on anything.
Oh, yeah.
And you're just not finding it. Yeah.
No, there's the what's the famous park in New Jersey? You told me about it, and I saw a documentary on it a while ago. Action Park?
Traction Park, yeah. Class Action Park.
Class Action Park, yes. So you see some of those rides, and you guys just basically like sketched them out on napkins, and they're like, oh, this is going to be great. We call Jim Bob up. He's got the weld machine.
He's got the welding machine. It's like, I know a guy that does concrete.
Yeah.
I know Dennis. He has a ditch witch.
Yeah. And we're good to go. Yeah, I didn't know about the pool that was actually fed by a spring. That was so fucking cold that it would give people heart attacks on hot days if they jumped into it. Yeah. They're like, oh, this thing's really deep and it's fed by its own like mountain spring or spring water.
Right.
So it's like the perfect self-cleaning pool. So let's have people jump into it. And then
seemed genius, yeah.
A couple guys jumped into it. So everybody's like, damn, it's cold. But some guys were just like, I'm dead.
Some guys are like, I'm dead. But other people are just like, the rush of it being that cold is part of the fun.
It probably was.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it murders people.
It's that... Well, it's that slide, the Verrupt, right? Like,
oh, that's a Schlitterbahn. That's different, though.
Well, this is yeah. I think that's the park, but I think it was
Schlitterbahn was the park. Verrupt was the slide. The slide.
Yeah, where I'll bet you. I mean, like 1,999 people went through there with no problem.
Yeah, but it was only open for 2 months. Did you know that?
I knew it wasn't long, but
it wasn't only 2 months. And so, yeah, they did put quite a few people through it, but it just happened. So, and actually, I saw a thing on that, too. That was horrifying, man. So, and then that kid just happened to be, like, the son of a state senator.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was like, oh, well, Schlitterbahn's done. So, and they actually, like, I didn't know this, but they actually bulldozed the fucking park.
I thought they just shut down the slide.
They bulldozed the fucking park. So, the whole damn thing. So, it is now a bunch of, like, convention centers and hotels. Oh, really? there's a Margaritaville hotel on it.
Why wouldn't there be? Yeah,
why wouldn't there be?
It's a perfect place for it. It's like, that's the... Which Margaritaville are you at? It's like, oh, the Verrupt.
The Verrupt one. Yeah. Yeah, no, I saw that.
Makes sense because, I mean, that slide was such a construction that if you're going to take that down...
it was huge.
Yeah, if you're going to take that down, then, you know, you've built that to fit that thing.
Yeah, but the park was never more than about half done. So, because they just had it, they had all the land and they had all the plans and all that shit. And then it was like, well, we need a big attraction so that we can get a lot of revenue to finish the park. And that was the whole idea behind it. And they, like, I saw some guys actually do some of the engineering on it. It actually wasn't bad. So, you know, it wasn't done by 2 guys on bar napkins.
So was my understanding, yeah.
So the thing is that the kid so they had a strict protocol about who could sit where because it was a 3-person inner tube, okay? And the kid just jumped in the front and went down. So it wasn't necessarily his fault, okay? Because there's no signage or like, hey, don't ride in the front if you're less than 85 pounds or something like that, okay? Because they hadn't really figured that part out. But they were like noticing that some people were going airborne. And so they put the chunky people up in the front.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it was working okay. But even then, it had happened enough where they actually put like a mesh cage.
Yeah, there was a netting or something.
There was a netting, and that's what caught the kid. Yeah. So, because he got airborne enough to actually, you know, put his head into the netting. So,
in hindsight, I would say I would prefer the netting.
Oh yeah,
for me, you know, just me personally going, yeah, but
orbit,
yeah. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that dude on the internet. I don't want to be that video to be my fucking legacy.
You little teddy bear. You know.
And your last words are that scream you didn't know that you could make. I don't want that. I don't want 18 million views to be, you know, me on that because they're not going to use my name. Again, they won't. And it won't be... It's not an accomplishment that I'm going in the newspaper for.
Right, yeah, exactly. So, local boob gets launched. Fucking water slide.
It's true, though. I mean, and, you know, frankly, like, I know when engineering shit like that, like, the mathematics are immaculate.
Oh, yeah.
But you're right, they fucked it up.
Well, and I mean, yeah, it had to do with tolerances, and so, you know, he's just pushing the edge of it, and there you go. So, no, I saw a thing on that. I also saw this whole thing on this really dumb, like, amusement park that closed in Utah.
When you say dumb, do you mean like the theme of it was dumb?
The theme
or
of it, I couldn't quite get what it was, okay? It had one ride, which was a train that kind of ran around, okay? But it was supposed to be like this fantasy land where everybody who works there is role-playing. And you go there and you basically play an RPG while you're there. But it was only...
that actually sounds interesting.
It sounds interesting, but it was only like 2 days a week. And then the guy who owned it was apparently some kind of like .com dude.
Okay.
Who was like really hands-on, involved in it, kept making changes, and it just got weird. And then like what happened was there was a whole bunch of people who would go there like every weekend. Okay. And then so like normies would come in and be like, well, what do we do around here? And they'd be getting like kooshballed by people who were like fireballing them.
Got it.
Yeah, okay.
Got it.
So you see where this went off the rails.
I do. Yeah. So, you know what? If they were a welcoming crowd, that would be awesome. Because they're doing so much of the work for you.
Right, yeah.
Just in terms of like friends and family, like you really bringing folks in, but if they're alienating people...
Well, and like some of the actors there who were working on it said that some of the guests were like thoroughly creepy, and they would keep showing up. Yeah, exactly. They had like no security or anything.
Right.
So, yeah.
You know what that always reminds me of like the fucking lunatics in Los Angeles and New York that are out there in front of like Toys R Us and Kids World and all the adult
Times Square, yeah.
Yeah, where they're dressed up as like Winnie the Pooh and Spider-Man and all that other shit.
Yeah.
Like, and people are taking their pictures with them, but dude, if you're talking about, you're gonna say like, how'd you get fucking bed bugs without sleeping?
We haven't even been here at night, Timmy. You know? How'd you get bed bugs?
Is it when you hugged that fucked up Spider-Man and took a picture? I'm like, I think it is.
Daddy, Spider-Man smells like bacon.
The kid is like, why do you have hepatitis? You know, it's just...
Why do you have hepatitis? Oh my god, yeah.
Like, this sucks, man. But yeah, those are the same kind of things where I feel like you're... Again, the cops know about it. They never shut it down. I know that there's some kind of ordinance where I guarantee you some group went out there and said, like, well, these costume people are... because they're not hard to fucking round up. You're like, okay, go get them.
Right, yeah. Who are you looking for? A Spider-Man.
I guarantee...
I can see him from here, man.
Hey, dude, I can tell you, like, during the Giuliani years, that didn't fly. Like, that dude found every squeegee man and every one of those people, and he, like, rounded them up and fucking shot them out of a cannon. I don't know where they went in society.
Threw them on the Schlitterbahn. No tube for you, buddy.
You know what? That's what we should do. We should just go get some of those videos from like Telegram and just overdub.
Oh no, man! Telegram is just, I can't do it anymore. It's so bad right now, Jeff. So, you know how full of memes it is of fucking Donald Trump hugging dogs and cats right now? It's insufferable.
So I appreciate the thing is
Well, the story turned out to be garbage. So,
no, it didn't.
No, the cat thing did. Not the 20,000 people. That's true. So,
no, the cat thing actually pans out.
It showed up on Telegram like 3 weeks ago. So
the ducks, the geese, and those for
the ducks and the geese, I'd buy.
That is 100%
no, the cat
sure.
Thing
they have
showed
photos
up.
Of that fucking shit.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised by that. But the cat thing actually showed up on Telegram 3 weeks ago. So that one was farmed. So be careful with that one. This is what they do with Telegram, man. They see if it catches on Telegram, and they get someone to put it on a Facebook group, and then it goes nuts. So,
yeah, because this has been a thing. That's the. But that being said, the organic nature of that I thought was funny.
Oh no, they showed up like the next fucking day. So yeah, and I mean, and again, where did it start? Telegram.
Unless it was some offshoot inside of there or whatever, I don't know. But that's always a good place to start. because it's starting with something that people wouldn't fucking believe.
Oh, Telegram? Yeah.
Well, because it starts with the morbidity of, like, are motherfuckers eating house pets in 2024?
Oh, yeah. Well, we know that's true. So, just not in Ohio, hopefully.
Well, and the roadkill thing is 100% true.
Yeah, but they do that in parts of
Kentucky.
Yeah. There's been, like, armadillo soup is a thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's dudes that you can see right now. It's like, dude, you've got a fucking raccoon's anus hanging off the side of your lips, man. I know what you ate for lunch. But yeah, that's that. Again, it's a valid point.
It is. There's actually a much better clip of a lady, like, at a city council meeting basically crying. So, because they're doing, like, cockfights in her backyard.
Yes.
So, yeah. And I was like, well, why didn't they show that one? That one's actually way more effective. So, and not Russian bullshit. So.
Again, I don't buy into the whole Russian bullshit either.
You don't have to, man. It's fine. So, they do a lot of farming on Telegram. They'll see what starts on Telegram, then they'll move it over to Facebook. So particularly in Facebook groups, private groups that are run by bots. And then if it catches up, next thing it knows, it shows up on somebody who's like legit. They're just they're a useful idiot.
Yeah.
In these cases, but they do this shit all the time, man. So there's so many stories that originate that way. So.
And that was something that sort of, actually it didn't sort of, it kind of ticked me off when I'm watching the debate. I'm like, guys, you cannot take the city council's or the police's word at face value and say, like, it's not happening. Why? Because if you're the police and that shit's going on under your watch, you're not in charge of the police anymore.
Well, and they might not be allowed to actually talk about it.
That could be it too. Yeah. But I was like, you guys are fucking a news agency.
I mean, if it's a pending investigation, they're not going to talk about it.
Well, and what they said is like, well, we haven't received any, credible, evidence of these things. But I mean, that was the thing is, so if you're a news agency, grab a reporter. Yeah,
go down there and find.
And go investigate.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys who went out there and investigate that the last 2 days. It did not take that much time to figure out what was going on.
No, as a matter of fact, there were people that were like, I know people that live like 15 minutes from there.
Yeah, let me go talk to them.
Yeah. But to go out there and say like this is uncategorical, this is just like completely false. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
No, I mean the like I didn't believe it at first when there was actually 20,000 like Haitian immigrants in a single city. In Ohio of 60,000 people, and then so I did some digging on that, and I mean, you do not have to dig that hard to actually find some of those city council meetings. You don't have to dig very far to find local news stories about it. So, it's easy. I mean, it's not that far from some major fucking affiliates. You can get on. The ABC affiliate in that area, and they have stories on it.
That's correct.
So yeah, that took 5 minutes to figure out. What
that was a fucking that was a sham.
What was
the fucking presentation of that quote unquote debate was an absolute disgrace.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the consensus today. So but
now, granted, I'm going to say it this way: I think both those people ended up looking like idiots. I don't think either of them presented themselves well, and that
I don't think Trump did anything that he doesn't normally do. So but
okay. So mission succeeded. Here's where they got him. Right here was, the dude would have scored 1 million more points if he hadn't gotten tilted. If he'd actually just
completely got him.
Yeah, he'd actually just fucking relaxed, right?
Yeah.
Then he'd had no problem. But at the same time, I'm like,
she baited him hard, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
He totally fell for it too, man.
Yeah, and that
I was a little disappointed in him. But.
The moderation was so bad, and I'm like, look, this is awful. You've again, like the whole thing there with eating the pet things, not fact checked.
Yeah.
They kept fact checking him, right? Didn't fact check her. They let her get away with the whole like find people on both sides, thing. It's like that's been debunked 20,000 times. You didn't fact check her on that. You didn't fact check her on the blood thing.
To. Yeah.
Well, and it's pathetic. I'm like, this network's a joke. Okay.
I always liked David Muir until last night.
Exactly.
I didn't have any problem with him until last night, man. So.
You know, he's good on the world news.
Yeah.
That's where he belongs. But as far as the commentary in there is like, oh, that didn't sound sarcastic to me. I'm like, that's not your job to discern.
Yeah, I will give Trump. I'll give him some props though for punching back on that dude. Though. So I mean, he succeeded in making him look stupid. So and that's like a lot of people that I watched. They were talking about it today. I mean, the whole thing was fucking full of it today. About it, and the like kind of the meta right now is like, well, yeah, everybody now agrees that David Muir is an asshole. So
whatever her name is, fucking sorority sister of Kamala Harris.
Was
Lindsay?
She?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, the president of the network.
Were they at the same time though?
No.
She's way young. Okay, that's what I thought.
No.
Yeah, okay.
But they do know each other, and the president of the fucking network, right? Her husband is best friends with Harris, so they have a 30-year relationship.
Yeah, okay.
In fact, I believe, if I recall correctly, she introduced her to her husband. They've been working together for 30 years. Is a DNC mega donor.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Well, again, this is the same thing as like this is.
That's the only way they got the actual debate.
Again, that's.
Otherwise, she wouldn't have agreed to it, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And there should be no.
No, I know there shouldn't be any of that, but it just makes sense.
The problem that I had with it was that because of the format on this, nobody's mind was changed. You didn't present anybody any opportunity to actually open each other up.
I don't think there's anybody's mind left to change, man.
We
gotta just fucking fast forward and vote tomorrow.
Do we agree? Yes. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Is nothing really tightened up. There were no like big changes in the numbers. I mean,
well, we won't know that for another week or so, but the other,
well, no, of the people that were watching.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, even then, it wasn't even that meme-worthy today. There was no like great clips that came out of it. So, yeah, even the clip shows didn't even show anything about it. The one thing that I did see was that Fox News folded up like 10 minutes before everybody else. So,
oh, did they?
Yeah, they were just like, that sucked. Here's your local news in 5. It
was just bad. It was doing that actually sort of robbed people of the chance to see where there are fundamental differences within these people and type people. Like, the fact that you let her get away with, like, again, it's like, are we better off now than we were 4 years ago? And the fact that you're letting her say, like, when I was a girl, I'm like,
Donald Trump let her say that too. So he had the microphone too. He talked too much. He should have asked more questions. So I think he.
I agree.
Up.
Again, that's he's tilted. That's not the best version of him.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not. When I'm looking at this kind of thing, I'm not looking at this and saying like one person should go out there and clean up or whatever. I'm like, no, this is a format where you actually get to talk to each other directly, right? And it's the facilitators in front that are supposed to be doing that. But I mean, like, you're not.
I wish they'd do those old school format ones where they let the studio audience ask questions. You remember those?
That'd be some crazy shit.
Yeah, we haven't done one of those in 10 years.
We do not have.
I would have longer than that. I think the last guy I seen do that is probably like George W. Bush.
Man.
Yeah, it might have been Barack Obama.
Well,
he might have done that actually.
They've done like town halls, sort of.
Right, that's what I mean. Yeah. He and Romney did one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But in terms of
that's 12 years ago.
What's funny is I would not trust anybody in there to ask a live question without the expectation that somebody in this room is going to try and do some bullshit for TikTok.
You gotta leave your phones out.
You know what I'm saying? It's
I get it.
Somebody's gonna try to do something for like some jackass is gonna be like a hidden Palestiner and take over the mic and do some stupid bullshit.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's too bad. I mean, you could like screen them. So I don't know. You'd probably still get around that too.
You absolutely could, because I mean, if they screen you, you can go in there and say like, "Well, this is the question I'm going to ask," and it's like, "All right, well, this passes the approved list," and suddenly when you have the mic in your hand, you're asking some stupid bullshit about Palestine or whatever. It's like, great, yeah. It was just disappointing. I was like, this sucks. You guys both look like idiots.
Yeah, I did watch Donald Trump's interview with Lex Friedman the other day. He should not do those.
I didn't think it was that bad.
It was fine, but like when Lex is asking him about DMT and stuff, you can tell that he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Nor does he really care.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I don't. Yeah, and so I'm changing my mind on whether or not he should go on Rogan. I don't think he should go on Rogan. I don't think it would do any good.
It depends, man.
You know where he's best? He's best when he's taking, like, hip-fire questions from the press. He is sharpest when he does that.
He is.
Yeah, he should just do more of that. He did that last night after the thing. So he actually showed up at the spin room afterwards and took questions. So
yeah, Harris just disappeared.
Yeah, she helicoptered off and back to the Batcave.
Christ, man. And she called for another one. Like immediately. I was like,
did she?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, and that's
the format's too good for her. I would not take her up on that. I'd be like, I'll do a press conference with you.
Well, I would. You know what I would do? I would be like, fuck that. I was like, look, I would flip it around and I would say like, here's what we're gonna do. Okay. ABC just butt fucked me. We're not going back on there again.
No.
Here's what we're gonna do. Okay. We're gonna do this on somewhere where we can actually reach some people. It's like you and me. We're gonna do this on Twitch.
Oh yeah, maybe. If I were him, I would not accept any of those. If I were him, or if I was his campaign manager, I'd be like, you know what, fuck it, we're done trying to persuade people. We're hitting them 7 states every fucking day. So until
me personally, yes, you have.
I was like, there's not going to be a person in that state who wants to shake my hand who hasn't. So yeah, that's what I would do.
Walk the neighborhoods, whatever. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, realistically, I would do that, and frankly, at this point, both groups, you have all the ammunition you need to actually solidify your campaign messages toward the end.
Yep.
Right. You have all the sound bites. You know what? That actually that was probably the funniest moment.
I'm talking here.
No, it wasn't that when she said he's like, it's just a sound bite. Somebody wrote that for you. That
was
fucking
that was pretty good.
That one killed me.
That one was pretty good. He only had like a couple zingers, but he did have a couple in there.
Well, this stuff was mostly at the beginning.
I'm sure you've heard that before.
This stuff again was mostly at the beginning. As soon as he got, they managed to get him like super defensive, and then he put the mean face on, and that's just not that's not what people remember. Like the things that people actually remember in terms of actually liking this guy are, like when Megyn Kelly was asking him about like you've said these things about women, and when he pauses, he's like, well, only to Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah.
See, that's what people remember. That's the thing. And like, the further away you get from that, the worse you look.
Yeah. I wish they had made up, man. I actually really like Megyn Kelly. So
I think she's way better now than when she was clearly still trying to be something that the network wanted her to be.
She's much better on her own. That's true. So
she's way funnier than
she is. Pretty funny lady.
That was a surprising thing is that they didn't let that aspect come. It's like just so we got you on this, like, say these things and put on your biggest bitch face, right? Like that's what's gonna sell. I'm like, you sure? It's like, yeah, and it worked for a while. And then when she started doing her own thing, I was like, wow, your actual personality
is really nice. So,
because I used to say that was my joke there for a while, was there were two people in the media that I think would hate having sex with me more than anyone else. Megyn Kelly and Anna Kasparian. I was like, I think the two of you would hate it.
Anna Kasparian's actually chilled out quite a bit too. So
her party tried to eat her.
I know. Like in front of everybody else. Yeah. So I've seen her on a couple podcasts since then. And she's actually kind of funny. So
even her boy Chunk, like he's a.
I did not watch him on Lex.
Like even he's kind of mellowed out because of some of this stuff, some of the things that he got attacked for.
Chunk.
That's not wrong.
That's
man.
not wrong. Yeah.
There are dudes that just look like
God, he should play Fred Flintstone.
Yeah, he should. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know, man. It's just like the human beefiness has done something to your brain. So, I don't like
it's
it.
Insulated it.
It's, well, there's some people like I look at them. I think you and I are kind of like in the same place with like Brian Stelter and Stelter.
Oh, he's useless, dude.
Yeah.
That guy is so useless. And I mean, CNN threw him under the bus, and he's still shilling for him, man. It's crazy. So I know. Yeah. I've heard other people really tear into him on some things though. So yeah, but CNN's not. It's not even something I can watch anymore. So since I don't have the YouTube TV.
Oh right.
So I don't even know who's on there. So
I think if you got it for free, you still wouldn't watch it.
I wouldn't watch that. I wouldn't watch MSNBC. I wouldn't watch Fox. Well, I don't know. I do listen to Hannity sometimes. So I don't mind him.
Do you?
You kind of know what you're getting with Hannity, so
you do.
He's really upfront about it too. So
I feel like you're not getting like a. I feel like he's the least huckstery of that crowd.
He totally is.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and so he's still King Daddy on Fox right now, from what I understand. But, yeah, I can't watch it. So I don't get it. Oh well. It's not good getting your news from Telegram either, though, man.
It's raw.
It's very raw, Jeff. Yeah, it is very raw. So.
Yeah, but that's the thing, man. Is like. You can get full off raw meat, but you can get some serious parasites in that shit.
I got worms, man. I got Telegram worms.
You can't watch that shit forever without it doing something to you.
Yeah, I have to take breaks. So, especially when I'm watching war porn on it. So,
bro, I get you. And what's the story? Is that they have. Ukraine has American missiles, if I recall correct.
Yeah, they've got several different types.
Yeah.
So we were nerfing them for a while, but apparently we're not doing that anymore. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter. They were going to use them anyway. So, I don't know. They don't have that many of them left. So, that's probably why they said it was okay to do that. Because honestly, we don't have that many of them left. So,
do we want to make more?
We are making a lot more.
Okay.
So, they are destined for the Pacific.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yes.
Got it. Well, this is something that we talked about before, right? Was that the lessons that we've learned from watching, Ukraine and that kind of thing have really made some people rethink about what combat is actually going to be like and what's effective, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it, what we're learning is that it's just avoidance is the best policy. So, because it's insanely more expensive than it used to be. So, and it is really destructive. There's parts of Ukraine that, we haven't seen things been rubbled like that since World War II. So, there's like entire cities that have basically been scraped down to the sidewalks. There's hundreds of thousands of people in the dirt. And it's still not technically a war. So, imagine an actual war. So,
I don't think we could do that.
I don't think we could do it either. I don't think anybody would want to do that. So, well, with the exception of one guy who's trying to build a new tsardom in Russia. So,
oh, wow.
Did you hear about that? So,
no, what did he do now?
I don't know. Just keep your ears peeled for that, okay? Because there's rumblings afoot that he's going to install some of his children into his government.
Come on, man.
I'm dead serious, dude.
Okay, what I didn't know, because I wasn't there, I just knew about...
He's only got daughters.
This is some real CK2 shit.
It totally is. Dude, he's establishing his own religions.
This was something I didn't know. I knew that they'd, in terms of extending his time and stuff, I knew there were amendments made to the Constitution. Well, sort of, right?
It ain't worth the paper it's written on.
Well, so I got some insight as to how some of that happened. So again, it turns out this friend of mine here, she actually, her family is. They have roots that go into the Russian space program.
Oh,
like
nice.
The old stuff. Like
cosmonauts, huh?
Correct. Because I know the first woman in space in the United States was Sally Ride. I don't remember the name of the first Russian woman in space.
She was earlier, though.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And evidently she is like a national hero.
Oh, I'll bet.
Like still to this day. And she was one of the ones that Putin paraded out and basically campaigned to have him alter the Constitution for.
Okay.
Now, the thing was, this I didn't know. I wondered, I was like, how is this not seen as being like, tyrannical? And I guess the presentation of this was...
La, 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 la.
No, what happened was, so Putin's take on this is actually like he's like a 5-year-old bashful boy when that happens.
Oh, shucks.
Yes, because his presentation on this, because he has like this cosmonaut, she's doing all this campaigning for him, and his take on it is, well, if you really want me to.
Oh, fuck, this is so Romanesque, it's not even funny, dude. Yeah. He didn't invent
that's exactly
that,
how it was done. It's like,
you gotta refuse at least 3 times.
Yes. I didn't know that's how it was.
Well, if the state really needs me, I guess I'll pull another Tacitus here. And
yes.
So I'll go back to my fucking potato farm when I get done with fixing the state. The motherland needs me. Yeah, no, he totally does that. So,
I did not know that was his shtick, but that's it.
The guy is just, he is... I feel bad for Russians. So, on a lot of levels. Because, if your government is that fucked up, it does actually make sense to not pay attention to what it's doing.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. What are you going to do? Yeah, so... But, like, the whole state is crumbling right now. Now, the question is does it crumble from, like, rocks into pebbles and then pebbles into sand? Oh, I don't know. It could take 1,000 years.
Right.
So, you have no idea. But, prices are terrible. There's a couple guys that I watch, and they got heartbreaking videos out there of people, like, in the middle of nowhere, Russia. All the sons are gone. So all the smart people left. Okay, the people who know how to run the machines and fix the shit. And stuff like that. They all fled to Armenia or America or something.
Or Poland
or something. Yeah. And so nobody knows how to fix shit. So they make these videos where they appeal to Putin himself for the simplest things. It's like, our well doesn't work. We need you to fix our well. Otherwise, we're all going to have to leave and all our crops will be ruined. So, and then you'll see a follow-up video like a month later. They're gone. Yeah. He just abandoned that town.
You remember,
dude? And that's not even like the people who have been defecting from the Russian army, man. These are people who still have some faith,
that still want to be there. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So, oh man, it's bad.
You remember how big a scandal it was with the Flint, Michigan water pipe crisis?
Oh God, yeah.
Right. That would not make page fucking 9 of...
Dude, yeah, and the Russian... You have to go pretty deep before you find these things. In fact, they get scrubbed from the media. That's why they show up on Telegram.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's the one thing they can't control. So, because they all use it to communicate with each other.
That's true,
So, you know, and it's one of those things where it's like... Well, we can't use WhatsApp, you know, because Facebook is not really a thing here anymore.
Yeah.
So we all use Telegram to communicate. That's how you keep in touch with your family. So that's the one thing that I've learned to appreciate about Russia is family is everything. So family's a big fucking deal. So
way more than I thought.
Yeah,
that was a shock for me too.
It makes sense to me now a little bit, just because if you got no faith in your country, so your family really does fucking matter. So you know that does make sense, and that's why. You know, like him using... I mean, so the Ukrainians grabbed a lot of dudes. You know, and then unlike the Russians, they don't chain them to a tree and hacksaw their heads off. Which I've seen that happen a couple times. So thanks, Telegram, for the PTSD. So, no, they put him in jails, and they feed him. And they use them as trade bait to get some of their guys back. So... And there's a bunch of them. They're like, "Don't fucking send me back,
please."
It was like, I managed to survive.
They're gonna make me fight again.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's crazy, man. So you know, and they were trying to beat up Donald Trump last. Well, you didn't say you wanted Ukraine. I agree with him. He just wants it to end. It should just end, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this is a very easy deal at this point in time. Okay, it's like everything back for everything back.
Right.
Good guys. You know, land, all the things.
Yep.
You know, maybe we can talk about Crimea. I don't know. Okay, but, you know, like, this is an easy one-for-one exchange. So we should be able to come to an agreement on it here. Putin will never agree to it. So, because all those guys have come back from the front, and they're all armed.
Right.
And so it absolutely makes sense for him to keep the war going as long as he can, because he's keeping all the young men who are armed in harm's way. Not in Moscow. Which is where they would be if there was no war. It's fucking Rome all over again, man. You don't let centurions into the city. That happened once. It was really bad.
Yeah. Things were not the same
ever
after that. Yeah.
No.
The brilliant phrase that comes along with that too.
What's that?
That's the Aliyah Yaktast.
Oh yeah.
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 Yeah. The die is cast.
Oh, actually, it was Sulla before him.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, you're right. That's the famous one. Yeah. So,
that's Caesar's. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So
I was like, "Are we gonna cross this river?" It's like, "Yep."
Yep. Wait a minute, you're not across it already?
He said mid-crossing.
10 minutes. Yeah. I was serious, guys. All right, we're on it.
No, they were going. I was just trying to think of something cool to say.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Write that down. No, I got it, and that's because again, it's imposing our impartiality on this is not something that's going to resolve this, because at this point, the only thing that you can do at this point is basically try to build up fervor to it's like maybe we should get involved in stuff. This is like no,
we're not going to get involved.
Please God, no. As a matter of fact, this guy, anybody here right now that's advocating for less military activity is the person that's my guy. We have been fighting non-fucking stop, until we finally pulled out, even though we still have troops in that area, that general area.
Iraq.
Yeah, there's a couple other places that we still have troops there.
We still have guys in Syria. So we're still fighting the ISIS. In fact, we killed one of their big guys the other day.
Did he have it coming?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Dude, he's ISIS.
Yeah, we all have it coming, kid.
Yeah, all have it coming, kid. This is a question of weight.
Yeah, anybody who's basically, it's like you do not want Dick Cheney on your side. At this point, I am not convinced that you guys aren't interested in prolonging conflicts to make money. I just don't believe it. And you should have been the first ones. I don't think they make that much
money off of it. So
Dick Cheney did.
Maybe, but he had to divest himself from Halliburton before he became the vice president, so he didn't actually make any money off that. Maybe some of his buddies did.
Yes, that people did just fine.
I don't think Dick Cheney was looking to make more money. So it was just the power. You get enough money at a certain point in time, how much more do you need? And that's not an easy way. No, you want to do it because you want to be in charge of the biggest fucking hot rod on the block, and you want to go use it on somebody. And so... I think that's what Dick Cheney was, man. So, and don't forget that we all supported that shit. He would not have been able to do it if we were not on board with that.
Brother, okay, so that's a question of physics.
What?
That was a question of physics. Was you have, I don't know what the measurement was. If you have 240 million kilojoules of pent-up American aggression.
Right, yeah.
Demand for vengeance. If you don't send that somewhere, right?
Fucking Canada better look out, man. We're going to finish this.
I don't know if you know.
It's just like when you get so mad you punch the wall.
Exactly, yeah. I shit you not. Like, there's...
Kilojoules of American rage. Hey man, it was legit. I was going through that in my mind the other day driving back from work, because there were a couple of chuds on the radio arguing about that. And I was like, motherfuckers, I was there when that happened, and I remember.
It is 9/11, yeah, that's right.
It was 9/11, and
I mean today, yeah.
Well, yeah, actually, as of today, but they were kind of starting to talk about that a little bit, but then, one of the guys, I was against the war from the very beginning, blah blah blah. We didn't need to get involved in Iraq, and the other guy's like, well, that's not how I remember it. He's like, you got to remember that, Colin Powell was one of the most respected guys in America. He went before the UN and said, hey. They've got them. They say they don't have them, but come on, it's the Iraqis. And everybody's like, yeah, it's the Iraqis. And then of course they're going to try and stir up some shit because we had them, we basically had our foot on his neck in 1991 and we let him go, which was the right thing to do. And this is what happens when you let snakes back into the barn. That was kind of the argument at that time. And so everybody was on board with it, man, except for just some weirdo liberal journalists out there who were like, war. So,
that and the Paul family.
Well, okay, so yeah, and then you have some fucking weirdo libertarians out there like, oh, money, So there you go. But then you have the rest of us who are like, fucking get the war paint out.
Yeah,
man.
I know. Look,
it's like you guys can stay in the car.
No. Okay, so again, the Paul family, they're like the actual Mormons, right? So when it comes down to it,
they actually don't do the caffeine.
They don't. They'll go up there and say look, I understand we're upset, okay, but my God will kill me if
my libertarian God.
Yeah.
It's got to have an Aztec name,
right? Way surprising for libertarians. It's like, so I spoke to Quetzalcoatl.
God of tax and balances.
Yeah, patron god of overreach, whatever it is. He's like, and he said, and I quote, right, we cannot do this. So I have to, as much as angry as I am, and I know that we have so much American rage electricity that needs to be directed into somebody that's not Canada. I have to, because God says, I have to oppose this.
I have to oppose this.
Right? It's like, I want you to understand, as the American public, it's like, gotta understand, I want to kick more ass
than
anybody else on this planet. And So help me, if they set foot on this continent, okay, I'd be right there with you. Right. So, like, those people said no, and I was like, okay, I respect that.
Yeah. They were definitely minority voices at the time, though.
Oh, exactly. I mean, it's still... There were a few dissenters, but not enough. Again, the thing was, it's like... You can hold... The people that were duped, right? Mm-hmm. I will argue that they were kind of willingly duped, because you have to... You have to take the information as is, and you're the ones ultimately reacting on it, and you say, like, all right, so I feel fairly certain, like 8 out of 10, I feel 8 out of 10 certain. And that's really certain.
That's really certain, but that's still rolling a 6.
Okay. That's correct.
Yeah, exactly.
That's correct.
So.
And, so that blew up in our face. But, I mean, again... The correct... We've talked about this in hindsight. The correct answer to that at that point was to take that American rage, and just like, in therapy, it's like, okay, well, punching the world isn't going to help. It's like, what do you have to turn this into something constructive. Yeah. And if we were truly enlightened beings, just, one step away from becoming pure thought and energy, we would have done that.
Yeah.
But we are still, blood and flesh. What is when Yoda like does that, he's like luminous beings or whatever, he says something like
I don't remember, but I know the scene. Yeah,
doughy things we are or whatever.
Yeah. Fleshy beings.
Yeah. And we're still that. So I mean, we're 300 years away from being enlightened enough to take that sitting down and say, like, look, there's a problem.
We should talk about it. Yeah.
We gotta say it. There was this thing I was listening to. It's actually something that I'm going to be working on here. That had to do with... I thought it was sort of a rebranding of Freud's 3 tenets of id, ego, superego, but I guess it's not. This is more about, like, every person has within them, there's 3 tenets. It's like inner child, like middle child, and adult, or something like that, right? Where these...
I've heard that.
Yeah, okay. And I can't remember the guy's name. I'm going to read up more on this here, but I guess this was was about, like, solving conflicts by recognizing the voice that you're trying to answer with, basically what you're seeing from someone, mm-hmm. and answering with the correct voice, right?
Right, yeah.
And I ran into some problems with this because, so the story that this came out with was, again, Marina was telling me about her husband, who, again, has some very childish tendencies, but I think they're very charming, right? So she's telling me this story about how there are some guests coming over, and she says, honey, I'm kind of busy. Can you clear the plates off the table, right? Now, taking that extremely...
No? Okay.
Taking that extremely literally, what he did was, she went to go do whatever it is that she had to do. There's, like, cups and, like, forks and all this other stuff. He just comes and gets the plates. He heard plates, I get plates.
Right.
So he just grabbed the plates off the table, put them back, and then... So then he goes into this room of collector's crap. And so when she walks by him next, he's in the living room practicing forms with a samurai sword. And she comes in there and sees a whole bunch of like cups and forks, and he's like... So the thing is, she asked me, like, how do you respond? Do you respond to his inner childhoodness with the same? You're supposed to, like, what's the correct answer to this? And I would ask you, like, if your spouse, and I know this is absolutely not something that would happen to you, right? Do you come in there with a firm, like, you gotta be kidding me? Do you come in there with a WTF? How do you...
I would laugh.
See, I would laugh too.
I would laugh.
Right?
Yeah. But I'd laugh, and I'd pick him up. So,
That's what I was saying. But evidently, supposedly, the correct answer was to. They say that you're supposed to respond to an inner child with an adult voice. I was like, that seems incredibly condescending.
Well, it depends on what adult voice you use. I mean, you're not going to go in there as Gunny Hartman,
Unless that is exactly who you are. But you would have been that before.
That's your
and
inner child,
after,
then, man. Yeah, that's not your adult voice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, no, I respond to most situations like that with humor. So I
would have been laughing my balls.
It almost never fails,
for sure.
man.
Yes.
So even like there's sometimes where something will happen and be like, why is that funny? I was like, well, if I can't laugh at that, so then I got no business laughing at silly stuff. So
pretty much.
Yeah.
Right.
So that came up not too long ago. I can't remember the context, but
yeah,
something about that. I don't know. Oh, someone was asking me about the benefits at my job, and I was like, yeah, they kind of suck, and they were like, oh, well, like, which plan should I get? I was like, you're going to pay a lot out of pocket anyway, so, like, go with whatever you think that, you'd be comfortable paying for every single month, and then just save the money for the rest. So, and then it was like, oh, okay, that's really good. And then one of my colleagues was like, oh, no, you should get the full thing because, that way you can take advantage of the benefits every single time. I was like, look, man, so let me just say, the benefits are great if you get cancer, so,
right,
kind of thing.
Right.
So with that, like, and then, she was looking at me like kind of aghast. I was like, no, seriously. They're great. So saved me $1.2 million. So,
Right.
And then he just got this grin on my face, and they're like mortified. And then it was like, hey, man, if I can't laugh about that, so.
Because then you flip around and say like, let me explain what the alternative would be.
Right. Yeah. Death. Yeah.
Well, there's two things. It's like it's either death. It's either death or cancer was treated, but I'm in the whole $1.2 million.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, both substantially worse outcomes. Yeah.
Correct.
So my go-to, like, I mean, I even do that with I do that with colleagues. I do that with students. I do it with people at the gas station. So I mean. Maybe that means I'm an inner child. I don't know, but
no, because I would consider that the mature, option in some ways here, where I find it kind of deflating at times. At least this is my perspective here. Is like you've probably seen this a million times over. Okay, you've had a million students come and go, and this person has been. They've been thinking about talking to you about something for 6 full days, and you can tell. You can look at them. They got lines on their face, man. They have stress beyond like 22 years. And they bring it up to you, and you laugh at it, and they're like, why is this funny? It's like, look, I know this is serious to you.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm laughing at it because you're hurting yourself way too much.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? You're taking this way too seriously.
Yeah,
right?
I've definitely had students do that.
I've been the person taking things too seriously, too. And it helped me.
I have, but I don't know, man. I've been through enough trauma over the last 10 years that it's kind of like...
Yeah, I'm talking about before that.
Yeah, I know, but I was kind of in the same boat at some points in time where I'd take things... I would way overthink things.
Yeah.
So I'd think myself into a corner on something, and then I'd miss really good opportunities that I didn't recognize as being opportunities until they were long gone.
That's a good point.
So, and then I eventually I just got frustrated of doing that. And so...
you just stop caring. Yeah.
Well, it's not even... Yeah, you just... you still care about outcomes. So, but, I guess my part is like, I got to the point in time where I realized I can't control all that.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the same, like when people talk about... You and I are on the same page, because it's like, all right, so... Of the 4 things that were in my command, right? Did I handle those appropriately? Well, if no, right? Then I need to look at this and say, what do I do? But if I look at this and say, all right, well, this decision hinges upon the 4 things that I control and the 21 things that I don't, right?
Yeah.
I can't turn around there and beat myself up like crazy and say I think a lot of this was out of my hands. Did I do the best I could? No. That's my fault.
That was in your hands.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll fix that next time.
Yeah, I'll fix that next time.
Right?
No, that's good and that's healthy, man. But like I know the exact type that you're talking about, the super anxious, nervous type. Can't win, don't try. It's the most useless form of at least I'm not a big fan of anger, but at least anger can be productive. You know,
bingo. Yeah,
so,
those kilojoules of rage need to go somewhere.
Sometimes, yeah, but you know, like the better thing to learn how to do is regulate kilojoules. But you know, sometimes, like at least it represents agency. So you know,
correct.
When you're mad at something, mad enough to get your butt up and go do something about it. All right, so you've got agency in there. The can't win, don't try attitude is just. It's the fucking worst, dude. Because
you'll take agency over apathy.
I'll take agency over apathy every fucking day.
Yeah, twice on Sundays.
So every fucking day. And so that's why when I have students who get mad at themselves, you know, they're like, man, I really jacked this up. I was like, that's all right. You can do it again. It's like, well, I didn't think you were going to let me do that. I was like, well, at least you asked. So there are going to be some people in this class who don't ask. Okay, and that's much worse.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So... And I don't know. I see that in my daughter sometimes. So
her?
Oh yeah, because I used to be the same way as a kid. She fights it a lot better than I did, though. So
there's no way that she gets it from you, though.
Oh yeah, she gets it from me and my mother and my wife.
You guys do that stuff in the house?
Oh no, not anymore. But when we were her age, absolutely.
Well, no. So but I mean, I feel like both of you two. Well,
man, when you're a kid, you arrive things at your own pace. So
no, but in terms of like, so how many, realistically, Patrick, how many of your when you look back, and I'm not talking about just positive or anything like that relationships with your parents, but like how many things do you see yourself solving problems or forming attitudes towards problems in the way that you learned from your folks?
Almost all of them.
Just unconsciously. And that's what I'm wondering is, like, how did she pick that up when you guys are probably both pretty cool about?
Well, some of it's got to be congenital. So, I don't know.
Just part of the age?
It's just part of the age. It's part of her friend group. It's part of us. You know, like sometimes when she does things like that, we don't notice this what she's doing until it gets bad enough for us to notice.
Got it.
There's a lot of things behind it, man. And then I mean, we're very free range parents, so it's like you do what you do you, and then we'll deal with consequences when they come around.
No, you guys are very unique in that you run like a 4-1 gifted and talented school.
It's very Montessori.
It's just like we don't define your goals here.
Right.
You define your goals. We facilitate.
Yeah. So
tell us if there's anything the staff can get for you to help you reach your needs.
Well, and there is some of that, man. So
that's who you are.
Huh?
That's exactly who you are.
Oh no, I know. Yeah.
And here's my question. Okay.
And it doesn't bother me. So it does bother me when she gets upset about lack of achievement when it's actually her fault. So, in those cases. So it's like, well, maybe you should do your homework earlier. It's like, yeah, but I'm right.
Well, yeah, that's the funny thing. It's like, hey, I hear you. So what's another suggestion? What's another alternative? How's another way that you can approach this?
Yeah.
Of course, then the other thing is like, well, you say that, but in this house, we respect the scientific method. So, if you haven't tried doing your homework earlier, how can you dismiss this?
We respect the scientific method. The idea that actions have consequences, and bike helmets are for losers.
Named animals are not food.
Named animals are not food.
Is that? And I feel like that's something that eventually needs to find its way on this wall. And we'll think of the mantras that belong there. But would you say that that's an extension of how you were raised, or is it something that you did as?
That's how I was raised.
I feel like in a lot of ways
my wife was very tightly controlled by her parents.
Right.
So we've got kind of a happy medium between those two, maybe a little bit more so towards how I was raised. But when I was my daughter's age, that's when I started hitting my rough patch because they didn't call me out on a lot of bullshit and I got in a lot of trouble. And I had to dig my ass out of that, and that was really important for me to learn. So I'm kind of waiting for her to do that. Because I did, man. I did a lot of the same bullshit that she's been doing with like her homework and stuff like that. I tell my parents it was fine. I'd throw it in the trash. I was months behind on some certain shit. So back then I could change my report card, which I did on at least 2 occasions.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
because they were dumb enough to give me a mechanical pencil, and they were printed on dot matrix. Ha ha ha. So, true story. And now she just. So the kids are so they're so tightly policed these days.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, in some ways that's good, because you don't have a lot of these like shenanigans that turn into serious problems like involving drug abuse and
right,
fucking animal cruelty and stuff. Like we had when we were kids. So,
right.
I mean, I had a friend who shot an arrow through a cat because he was angry at his parents. So,
See, all right.
We weren't friends after that. So,
the thing you're absolutely right. Okay, because there's 2 ways I look at this, where everything is it's those upsides and downsides, right? There are. I feel like I owe a lot of my current personality and perception to the very... And my parents were strict in comparison to some of the kids in this neighborhood.
Your parents were definitely more strict than mine were.
But in terms... Yeah,
I remember this.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also in terms of, like, current day leniency, like, where it was... It is unusual at this point to hear parents that are like, oh, yeah, my kid can just walk down to that gas station and come back.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit more of that, especially like in Will's neighborhood.
It's full of scared white people, so yeah.
Very scared white people. Very. Very. My brother not being among them. He's...
Of all the neighborhoods, his is the one that got shot up.
Of course. I know.
Although that did happen right over here the other day.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm right over here. It would be so convenient. But,
it did happen right over here. Just the other day in broad daylight. So,
but I mean, this is my brother, and he, I'm sure he would be, honest to say, like, there's nothing about life I didn't learn by crawling into a storm drain.
Right? Yeah.
And that's part of that, but so part of me takes away that component and says, like, I think there's a lot to benefit from that. But the drawback on all that freedom is just like you said, like, there were some legitimate fucking psychos.
Oh, yeah. No, man. I mean, there's some, like, I don't know, man. I probably shouldn't talk about this too much.
Just do it in vague. Don't give anything too far away.
No, man. Yeah. It was interesting because later on, some of the psychopaths that I went to school with, I crossed paths with them again later.
Oh.
So, or I found them on websites that report, like, people who have moved into your neighborhood. So, and it was like, wow, that makes perfect sense. So,
okay.
Yeah, and so I do know some. I know some kids who were horribly frustrated back then. They would take it out on younger siblings, animals, fire. Yeah. So and then so nowadays there's definitely a lot more. There's a lot more ways to detect that kind of shit at the expense of, a little bit of the carefreeness of it. So, which is fine. But the other thing is like the education quality is also much, much better. So it really is. In terms of like what they actually get taught and when. And that's kind of something that surprised me once I realized. I was like, wait a minute, you're doing scientific notation? Wow, I didn't do that for another year. So that's pretty cool. So,
I agree, and it's not to say that the American educational system doesn't have problems.
It does.
I will argue that, and I think you'll agree with me on this, where when it comes down to it, they say, and they're right. Okay, this is something that I feel that in many ways, there's been talking about basically, disbanding the Department of Education. I was like, I don't know about disbanding.
Doing that for 30 years. Ronald Reagan said to do that.
And there's part of me that says, okay, try it. Because there's a piece of me in the same way. It's like, revert it to the states. It's more efficient, I think. But there's also a component that says maybe a little bit of federal oversight is okay.
Federal oversight's fine, as long as they're not policing curriculum too much.
Right.
So that should be up to the state education. I mean, I think it should be up to the individual teacher personally, but
you're not going to hear me fighting on that. Well, I mean, to a point.
You're not going to get teachers who can do that responsibly. You're going to get you're going to have a couple guys get in there, going to scare all the girls away. So if you do that,
bro,
you know,
every social studies class is going to be like 1 week geography, 1 week cartography, 26 weeks. Panzer tanks.
Yeah, you're right.
Tell me I'm lying.
No.
Unless
somebody's going to jack it up. So yeah, you got to have some curricular oversight. I have no problem with that being at the school board level.
I agree. Yes,
it could be at the state level. That's fine. You know, I mean, the way the state used to do it with SLOs and stuff like that is fine. You know, the standardized testing needs to fucking go. So the Title I funds need to be dished out as block grants. So they used to do it that way, man, and it was much, much better. And now they're like, oh, well, you know,
if you're going to get this money,
yeah, you got to perform.
There's some strings attached.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's
no such thing as a free lunch.
And it's basically fucked every inner city school district in the entire country.
Boy, has it!
Oh, yeah, boy, howdy,
disproportionately harmed the people I think it was meant to help.
Dude, it was. I mean, the whole thing behind the interurban schools districts in the past was up and out. You know, and it worked. So, you know, and now it's like, yeah, actually, we've got asbestos-laden buildings. You know? So, where it's going to cost like half our budget this year just to refurbish like the gym. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, like, and that's like, okay, so you're going to really get me going on a rant there, but I'm not going to go down that path.
Give me.
It has to
give me like 15% of the rent.
Teach for America is a fucking sham organization. This is an NGO that actually sucks down federal money that should actually be spent on real teachers rather than fucking Ivy League frauds. So anyway, end rant.
You know, no, it wasn't. It's not over. You just capped the well. This is the thing, man. I'm
out of kilojoules, man.
No, fuck that shit. I know.
I hit the circuit breaker.
No. This thing is for it all. I don't have to go ahead and like go out there and repump it. I know I can get fresh oil out of that anytime.
Anytime you want. Man.
You were man enough not to go on a full rant. So
the pressure is good on that one.
Yeah. We'll come back to it. Don't get me wrong. There'll be a time and place. But you know, so there's part of me that says, all right, I can agree with that here. But the thing that they always say, they say like, well, before the Department of Ed, we were number 1 in education. Now we're 24. I'm like, all right, well, good, but are you still measuring it against things that are beneficial to society's business? Because that's really, when it comes down to it, that's really what I care about. Is it making better businessmen? Because I can have people out there that do great math. I can have people out there that, although this has been, you know, very neglected, that can have superior English skills, but if it doesn't convert into taxes, I don't care. And I don't care where that puts them in terms of rank 1 through 24.
Yeah, well, right? On those terms, we are still number 1.
That's what I'm talking about. Is that I'm going to look at this and say, like, which country out here knows how to make money? Well, we've been doing this. We've known how to do this. We've known how to develop the entrepreneurial spirit since like the 1800s when we took that top spot. Right?
I don't even know if that's the schools, though, man. The schools don't hurt it, so, you know, they could help it a little bit more, but they get the famous brick test. You know about that? Yeah. We still pass that one with flying colors.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And for years, they've been trying to, like, say that we're suck at that and things like that, but then it turns out that, like, most of those educational studies were fraudulent. So, you know... so we still do a really good job of that. We should do more of it, but there's always this thing about it, you know, where like education attracts people who are naturally not good at business. So, it naturally attracts people who are good at school. So you know, and so there's an overemphasis on like how good you are at school, and then you have tons of students who get out of school and then they go and they work at a car dealership for a little bit, and then they sell their teacher a car, and then they say, "Wow, man, yeah, so I got you hooked up with this 1996 Dodge, Cavalier here. Yeah, you can roll in style." And I get in my Mercedes Benz on the way home, and you kind of figure it out, and most people do, because most people actually learn fairly quickly. I definitely see this with my students, because a lot of my students are good at school or they're good at sports, and so they stay in school.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then they go out there, and then some of them really struggle, because it's like, well, I was good at school or sports, and I suck at this. Okay. Because it involves different skill sets. All right. It involves the ability to talk to other people. It involves the ability to actually think on your feet. All right. Not do it in terms of homework assignments, or it just involves how do I actually what does it mean to actually respect somebody? Things that you don't teach in school, right? So,
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so sometimes they struggle with it, but a lot of them, when they get out, is like, wow, this is a lot easier than school.
All right. Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. So, okay. I've had this changing perspective on this, and I think you're sort of even possibly more eloquently saying what I'm thinking about this here is so when you get people in schools, and this is the thing that I'm going to, when you say teachers in school are good at school,
yeah.
Right? Now, I think that takes things a step further, right? And what I'm going to say here is there is, and this is personal experience, this is the people that I've monitored, this is from tutoring, this is from all this other stuff, right? What I think school is very good at doing, right, isn't just being good at school. It's basically about how to min-max your stat tree.
It's turned into that, that's for sure.
Well, and that's a good thing, all right? But here's the thing is...
It's definitely done that.
Okay, the thing for me here is that schools, the one thing that they basically do, because this is a lot of the personalities of the people that are in there, are a lot of people who think that my statistics, okay, should be enough for me to get noticed. Versus, the people that, what you ultimately want here is you're talking about all right, so I've got this dude that's all hustle. He walked up through the front door and said I am not a nuclear engineer. It's yeah, do you know anything? It's I know this, this, and this. It's not perfect, but I can teach you. I like your attitude.
Yeah, sure.
Right? I would take that 100 times over 100 of a person who has a good educational record, throws in one application every 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And just basically says, why aren't my grades and my skills getting me through the front door?
Right. I thought I've hit the level cap.
Absolutely. right.
Yeah.
And what you're looking for is you want that your number one, first round pick is going to be that person that is that mix of, I have these stats, and I'm willing to come to the front door and talk to you here with the humility that this deserves.
Yes.
Right? That's why there are only 18 good quarterbacks in this league. You don't
exactly.
Get, right?
Oh, my God. Yes.
I get it. You want that.
Example.
You want that. And that's the thing is, when you hire that person, they're going to be in your department for 6 months before they move on.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have that going on. But they're going to do good things for the company. Right?
Yeah.
But when you get into school, you're going to have people teaching that it's the key is stats. Increase your stats. And have more stats, more diversity in your stats, right?
Yeah.
Stats. But you never have to stick your neck out here. That's why I am where I am, right? Because that's...
Yep. That's exactly... That's most educators, I mean, you do get some, some weirdos like you and I who went out and did stuff and then came back in after a bit.
Well,
and you always stick out like a sore thumb when you're that guy, but still, you do see that. But you also see there are some people who are just so steeped in it that they really don't have much of an idea of actually what's going on out there. And so they live in that school world, and so it assumes, like a primacy that a lot of kids can just see right through.
Bingo!
Yeah,
yes,
they just know it.
Yeah.
They're like, wait a minute, I work at the Tractor Supply, on the weekends, This is I don't need to know how to do this kind of conversion. I've got a machine that does that.
That's correct.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and that's the whole thing. I mean, I was getting into it a little bit with a guy the other night about ChatGPT. of all things, you know.
Yeah.
And I was just like, hey, man, it's just fancy Wikipedia now at this point in time. It's like, you know, it's like, it's just an English. It's like a calculator, but rather than math, it does English. It's even better. You know? So, of course, they're going to use it, even if you tell them not to. So, you know, because all I have to do is change where the decimal is in some of my work, and all of a sudden, how can you demonstrate that I didn't do it on ChatGPT and I just did that on my own, you know? So, and I mean, it's just, I know. It's it's so easy, Jeff. I mean, I can sit there and I put all of my discussion questions and stuff like that in the GPT, all right, to see kind of like, because you do it and you get like 5-6 iterations of it before it gets really samey. So, yeah. You know, but they're like the first couple, like they'll be really close, but sometimes it'll draw in a second point or something like that the first one didn't draw in. But then if you ask it just simply as like, answer this question in the voice of, you know, someone who's in 10th grade, it'll...
Sometimes it'll really fuck that up.
Well, sometimes it'll take it a little bit too far, but then you just ramp it up a little bit. So, or you yourself go in there and just fix a couple things. So
you're right.
Which is it's way faster to edit than it is to write. So, you know, and so even if I have to write like a 3-page paper, all right, even if I use it to write half of it, okay, it's going to give me a decent structure on that paper. It's going to give me my main 3 points, okay. So, and it's going to give me pretty good references if I ask it for it. So,
bro,
and it is easy.
It is easy. I'll just 2 things of this. So, number one, math used to have a break glass for emergencies stopgap against, you know, this kind of thing, and it used to be called the word problem. And so,
oh no, it doesn't work anymore.
So what?
It does not work.
It has destroyed that, because there used to be like, what is the practical application of math? It's like, well, if you don't get this, when I go out there and say like, look, hey, you have to be able to figure out the math from the question being asked, right?
Right.
And then suddenly they're saying, it's 112 degrees in the cup. There are 6 inches of space from the bottom to the top. And you're like, oh, okay, I have to dig this out. Right. ChatGPT will do that in less than a second.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Right. And again, I get that. But the other, like...
I wouldn't even attempt to do word problems right now. So...
Look, they're going to find a way to stay on top of it. And you know what? That's fine.
Yeah.
I do appreciate the challenge. It should always be evolving. That's the thing. That's the same thing that it goes with COVID science. It goes with everything. It's like, you should not be here on week 1, right? And be in the same place in week 10 and say like, isn't it amazing? All of our predictions were 100% correct. Isn't that
wow? Yeah.
Statistically speaking, how often does that happen? Never?
Yeah, never.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so that's a, you know, a piece of it, but yeah, the
they're struggling with it though, man. So the school's going to be the last thing to adapt to it, and I can tell you that because there's just so much of nope going on right now.
Yes.
You know, and it's like, I mean, I can just read through, you know, the assignment. So, like, the only strategy that I've been finding so far that's been working on this is assign things where it's not worth your time to punch it into ChatGPT. So, a bunch of little things. You know, a bunch of like personal things where it's just easier to answer it honestly than it is to do anything else, and do that enough. You know, but I'm running out of things to ask, you know, because it's just not enough time. So,
well, it's not enough time, and you know what? We weren't built to do that.
No, we weren't.
The generation after us will be.
They will be.
We weren't built for that.
Yeah, we weren't built for that. No, that's a good point. So
we were.
I did not do school like that. So,
no.
Yeah.
And the same thing where people are looking like, you know, hey, I want you to format it like this. Am I going to sit there as an educator, you know, from my own point and say like, you know what? This world really fell apart. It's like when? It's like when fucking WordPerfect created something called a template. And instead of people having to look up which parts go where in a fucking paper, they could say, I want to write an English paper, and the thing comes out here and says like, no problem.
There you go.
Just type here. Right?
Yeah.
Am I really going to go out there and say like, I want to give you an A, but you used a template?
See, I give my students a template.
I know you do.
So,
I know you do.
It's so much easier to grade, too, because then I'll have students, and it doesn't even matter on their content on some of the things. It'll be like, okay, your content's fine, but you actually didn't do it the way that I asked you to do it. And that's actually what I'm trying to teach you here. So, is like, because you're going to have a boss, and that boss is going to tell, do it this way. And you're not going to do it that way because you think you're cutting corners, but you're actually pissing me off. So that's not the outcome that you want here. So do it my way. So follow the instructions. And so even just basic things like that. It's kind of surprising how like many students I get can't do that. But within like 2 weeks or 3 weeks of being in my class, they've got it down pat and they feel good about it. And then next day, if I have them again in another class later, I don't have to do that anymore. And then, I'll pull their work from other classes sometimes during review and I'll be like, this looks good, doesn't it? Somebody learned something.
This shit looks professional,
It looks professional, yeah. So, but then there's like just some other things in there that, it's going to take a while for people to adjust to it, man. So, yeah.
No, you're right. I mean, and the same thing, like, you and I are the last, as far as I'm concerned, okay? We are the last. Buy the book every 2 to 5 years, because you have to be aware of the new changes in APA, MLA, or Chicago style.
Yep.
And we did this with paper, right? We did paper citations.
Know where the periods went.
That's correct. And you would lose if you didn't do it correctly. So, like 10 years ago, they made a citation generator, right? And that changed everything, where it's like I would tell them this, I'm like, look, I can teach you the long way. I can give you this book.
Yeah.
What I want you to do is go to this site.
Go to the site.
Everything that it needs from you, type it.
Yeah. It does it in Word.
And that's the other thing, is now the processors and everything else, you don't need the generator because it will do it for you.
You can go to like most sources now. And
you
can click on the button that says generate
Jesus
citation.
Christ, I know.
So I was doing some of that today. It was
Dude,
like, this is so much easier. So
and I'm going to sit there and really lament the loss of, like, there is something where I say, like, adhering to a specific, very specific code of requirements did help me with some things.
Oh yeah, it helps you pay attention to details.
Did help.
There are other ways to teach that, though, too.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So ones that aren't quite so like evil.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. So yeah, that I'm with you on that. So cool.
Ever evolving. All right, I'm Pat.
Yeah, I'm Jeffrey.
I'm hitting the button.
Okay.